All right, let's have a little more fun. What is this? Now, for those of you that just said water, no, it's not. This isn't water. This whole thing isn't water. Here's what it really is. It is a bunch of visual images that are supposed to represent audible sounds that when you put them together in the right order, is supposed to conjure up the idea in someone else's mind of water, that wet stuff that we see all around us, that you see outside of us right now. So, language kind of works that way. We talk about things over and over, back and forth with one another, but we're not actually dealing with the actual things themselves. So when people tell you something, there's so many different degrees of separation between what they're telling you and the actual experience itself. So let me give you another idea of that. So, first off, let's talk about the idea of flowers. All right? Same rules apply. But for this, we're going to show you how many different degrees of separation there is. So, the definition of a flower is anything that has colorful petals that is the seed bearing part of a plant. Okay, so that's the idea. Anything that represents that. So, that's the first step. Now, how did I find this out? I had to go and find a definition from someone else. I didn't know that myself. So that's 1 degree of separation. The definition and me reading the definition somewhere else. So there's the idea and my interpretation of the idea. That's 1 degree of separation. So now I have this. We would call this a flower. It's got colorful petals. It bears seeds. But what is this? This is a very specific type of flower. It's a daffodil. It's not a rose. It's not a tulip. It's a particular type of flower. So this participates in the things that a flower is supposed to do. It's a physical object I can hold in my hand. That is a flower, but it is not the whole idea. It's just something that participates in the idea. That's 2 degrees of separation. All right. Now, let's say that I want to do this. I'm going to go to my home. I'm going to take my camera, and I'm going to take a picture of the flower. All right. So here we go. It's kind of hard to see with the light, but it's the picture I just took. Now, is that a flower? No. It's an image on my phone of a thing that participates in an idea I read about from somewhere that someone else came up with a long time ago. So now we're on 4 degrees of separation. Now I show this to someone, and I want to tell them exactly what I'm showing them. So, what do I tell them they're looking at? Flower. That's a bunch of sounds put together that collectively can be defined by all the stuff we talked about before. So that collection of sounds, that word that you hear, that's 5 degrees of separation. Now, I'm going to ask them to write about it. So they're going to have to write what they're writing about. And they go and they write this word. These things, letters, are the physical objects that represent the audible sound that we make, that when you put those sounds together can be defined a certain way, that represent a thing that we can talk about that exists, but many things exist that fit in that particular definition, from a definition that I heard about from someone else. So basically, what we've got is this right here. The word that I use and write down is at least 6 degrees separated from the actual thing. So when you think about it, that idea, how much of what you know have you really experienced? Do you really understand? Do you really know?